MBA. So I'm going to start actually in the reverse order and tell you a little bit about myself first. So I spent 20 of the longest years of my life in corporate America, hating every single second of it. That's because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I'm still not 100% sure actually. But when I was your age, I certainly had no idea. So the choices for careers were far narrower than they are now. You guys are in a work environment, growing up in an environment where if you know how to build a website, you can make millions, sitting on your couch. So I think the choices that you have make it easier, both easier and more difficult. But I went into corporate because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And then my very last corporate job, I was vice president of marketing and product development. I had spent my entire career in financial services and banking, believe it or not. Why was I a banker? I don't know. Anymore, thankfully. And so when my team and I had a huge department, huge budget, talk about numbers, I was responsible for $7 million. And yeah, I know, right? Thinking back, I'm like, whoa, I did that? Cool. And so I would travel the country. My team and I would go and we would train customer service departments and all that. Whenever we rolled out a new product, we'd have to go train everybody that, all around the country. So I spent a fair amount of time in airports and airplanes and traveling and teaching and training and all that. And I just had this epiphany that that's what I love to do, and I don't ever want to go back to an office and sit in an office and just sign papers again. So I worked on my resume, and I made it less marketing-oriented and more training and teaching-oriented, and I made the segue. So I've also lived all over the country. I'm a native New Yorker. Anybody from Brooklyn? Awesome. All right. Don't Bronx. So I went from New York to Texas, and that's where I got my graduate degree, was at the University of Dallas, and then I lived in Southern California and came to Connecticut. So when I got back to the East Coast, I had another corporate job waiting for me, and I realized, oh my God, I hate it. So I started sending out my resume, and I'll talk to you a little bit at the end about resumes. You have to have a workable resume. And I started teaching. At the same time, I also opened a consulting firm. I'm in my 10th year now of running my own business, so anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur, okay, gotta learn how to write, gotta learn how to write, gotta learn how to speak. I get most of my clients by doing sessions like this. My attorney and I do workshops together. In fact, it's next week. And I do a lot of public speaking, and every time I do it, I get a new client. So the cheapest marketing on the planet, right? It's just my time. So it is imperative that you guys know how to write and how to, I'm going to go off of what Dr. Forbes said. So symbiotic relationship between marketing and communication. So messaging, brands have messages. Why do you buy stuff? Because you like their message, you like their brand, you like what they stand for. Somebody has to write that stuff, right? And it's research behind it that creates the message, and I'll show you the slide in a minute. Branding, slogans, that's all writing. Okay? Value propositions, right? What makes one brand or one, I recently had to buy a car. Well, I actually ended up leasing a car. And so, I had like, which car do I want? Why? And right? What's the value proposition? How much does it cost every month? Right? If you're creative and you want to do logos, graphics, anybody here know Photoshop, InDesign, and all those things? Okay. Who knows how to build a website? Anybody here know WordPress? Only one person? Wow, that's a must. I mean, even I learned how to do websites this summer. You have to learn how to create a website. If for nothing else, as part of your LinkedIn. Who here is on LinkedIn? Good, okay. That's your home base online. You guys are the digital generation, right? Your home base is your website. So I highly recommend that you get your URL of your name if it's available. If not, throw a middle name on there or something, right? Okay, so social media. We live in a world where everything is digital. Our messages are small, right? Tiny, tiny, small chunks. And then advertising, of course, of all kinds, combines marketing and communication. So in today's marketing environment, we demands quick, immediate message delivery. How much time do you think people spend reading an ad of any kind? Yeah, it's up to 7. Okay, good. How'd you know that? Personal experience? Good stuff. So,
let's go with that.
Okay, so it is absolutely imperative that you be able to communicate your brand, yourself, right? you're a product. When you go out in the marketplace and start looking for a job, you are a product. So you have to be able to communicate that with high degree of clarity as quickly as possible. So draft and then edit, edit, edit. Okay, so I had published a book and I wrote it, but I had an editor, right? One is a right brain activity, one is a left brain activity. There is, you can't do both at the same time, right? So if you have a big assignment due, then you want to leave yourself enough time to be able to write it and then go back and edit it, right? You can't do those two things at the same time. Trust me, if it doesn't work, you'll have to do it over again. So we live in an overstimulated world, right? I don't know about you, but there are days I have 300 email messages between my clients, my suppliers, my students, you know, faculty, other faculty here, meetings, something. You're drowning in emails, right? So how do you get someone's attention? Well, being clear, having a good subject line, making sure that your message gets through, right? You have to figure out a way to overcome short attention spans. You just have to. That's the way of the world. We live in a world where sound bites now, political sound bites are this big, right? Nobody knows the whole picture. They only hear that sound bite again and again and again on the news, on social media, right? So we have been reduced, and the average sound bite actually used to be 40 seconds, and now it's only 9 seconds. So there is, in broadcast, you know, they're trying to fit everything in on TV and radio. So the TV spot now, TV commercial, used to be 1 minute long. When I was growing up and I was your age, every TV commercial was 60 seconds. I mean, that's just the standard. Then it morphed to 30, and it stayed there for a number of years. And for the most part, it's kind of still there, but the 15-second spot is becoming the norm. Because to keep people's attention is getting harder and harder to do that. And also, it's more profitable for the network. Right? They don't charge 1/4 of a minute. They charge more than 1/4, and therefore, right, their revenues are increased. So with fragmentation in society and so many channels and so many things available for people to get their news and entertainment from, online, offline, they have to figure out a way to make money. They're all fighting for, right, they're all fighting for their share. So social media, especially Twitter, you only have 140 characters. Instagram is mostly visual, right? So is Facebook, is mostly visual. And all those things online are called content marketing. So if you want to have a career that has anything to do with websites, digital media, social media, you have to understand and know how to write for the web. That includes search engine optimization and all the content media things that go around that. So I was very lucky because even in corporate, even though I hated my jobs, which I did, for the most part, I was in direct response. So you'd mail 1 million pieces, you would have 35 test cells, you would see which price, which package, which graphics, which logo pulled better, and then that would become your control package. So again, to play after Dr. Corbis, you do need to know numbers in this world, especially in websites, right? Teach yourself how to build a website, understand Google Analytics, understand. So my training, even though it was offline, was a perfect segue into our digital economy, and who knew, right? I didn't know what was going to happen in the world. But understanding numbers is critically important. Here's an example of a billboard, right? 3 seconds or less to capture somebody's attention. This is a very famous billboard that won awards in the state of Colorado, and as you can see, right, it said just a few words, tailgating isn't worth it, and then it shows a crash. So it's powerful, right? It's really powerful. If you were driving, you would look up at that and you would say, oh my gosh, I hopefully not crash in front of you. That would be, yeah, that would be awful. But this is an example of being, you know, clarity, clarity, clarity. Edit, edit, edit. Visual keywords working together. Communication and marketing working together. In this case, it's for a nonprofit. And then semiotics. So semiotics is the study of signs and symbols, metaphors, and things that stand in for words, because we live in an image-driven society right now. So it's also a lot less expensive to create an ad using signs and symbols than it is to pay models, celebrity networks, right, figures. So if you see a red rose in an ad, you know it's trying to convey romance. If you see egg is used a lot. Rounded objects, female, ties and other phallic symbols like that obviously stand in for males. So you can say a lot with just using visuals, okay? So I spent 13 years at Manhattanville College in Purchase, New York, in the comm department. And I can tell you that even there was a lot of overlap between marketing, advertising, and communication. So there is a very symbiotic relationship, right, between those two. So I wanted to make sure that you understand that I know where I'm coming from. And I also put here, International Journal of Marketing Semiotics, if anybody is interested in that. And then here's an ad that I show a lot. You don't have to worry about the little tiny words, but what does that say to you? What's the first message that you get from looking at that? The date. The date, okay. So what's the date? October 4th? Okay. What's the year? Don't know. What do you think that's trying to say? So this is an example of semiotics. What is that trying to say?
It's always in style.
Always in style, okay. No. It means your birthday is October, and why did they choose October 4th, do you think? I showed this in my advertising class the first night. Nobody ever believes me. It is the most common birthday in the United States. Who here is October birthday? So, well, do your math. Oh, God, numbers. What's 9 months before? Yeah, New Year's Eve, right. Yeah. You didn't know you were going to learn that here today. So what is the year? The year is supposed to be, if you use this product, it doesn't matter what year you were born, because you're gonna look young and beautiful, right? So Olay was around for decades and decades. My mother used to use it. I can still see it on the counter in the bathroom growing up when I was a little girl. And then they went under. They lost favor. The U.S. market fell apart. In 1999, they were relaunched. They were bought by Procter & Gamble, and they were relaunched. And this was one of their relaunch ads, and this was really, really successful. So this, again, is the coming together, the symbiotic relationship between words and research and numbers and writing, okay? and for use in advertising. So they wanted to reach $250 million. They reached $1 billion. There is, in sales, there is I can't remember the name of it, but there's a journal that tracks brands in every industry, and they were #1 for 2 years in a row, I think 2011 and 12 or something like that. So they clearly made their, goal. And then for your career, so there are 4 P's in marketing, right? So as a human, which P are you? Product, price, place, promotion. Which are you? Nope. Nope. Right, your product, right, your product. So when you go out there, you spend all this time, all this energy, all this money getting a college degree. So when you go out there in the workplace, you have to know that there's fierce competition for jobs, especially at the entry level. And soft skills are more, right, as Dr. Stewart said, more soft skills are more in demand than ever. So the ability to write a powerful resume, to be able to interview and sit in front of somebody, okay? If I said that my client was hiring, and I've done this, I have put, I've given students over all these years the opportunity to interview with my clients, and I asked for a resume, oh, well, I don't have one. So how many of you, if I said, I have a killer job waiting for you, or an interview, send me your resume, how many of you would be able to do that? Good, okay. How many people, unless 10 other people have also read your resume, it's not ready to go. I'm telling you that you will get 1 million perspectives on your resume, and it has to be perfect, and it has to be powerful. Okay? So I also have worked as a recruiter in the marketing industry. Send it to me, and I promise you I'll write all over it. But from a good place, right? Because I want you to succeed. So a powerful resume and a cover letter is key to getting an interview, because the resume doesn't get you a job. The resume just gets you an interview. There's a really big difference, right? So one is writing, and the other one is sitting in front of somebody, or somebody's, right? It's more common than ever to have 4 or 5 people interview you at the same time, which can be intimidating. You need to prepare for that so that you can actually talk your way into a job, right? So I have a saying, and it's been on the signature block of wherever I've taught. You are the CEO of your own life. So you are responsible for everything, all of your resources, right? Your time, your communication, how you position yourself. What's your brand? What do you stand for? How do you communicate your value proposition out there in the world? That is really, really important, because to get a college degree and then not get a job is, you know, sucks. You don't really ever want to be in that position, right? So at the entry level, I have heard that in Connecticut, an entry level, whatever kind of position, you know, an entry level management position, you can have up to 1,000 competitors. So you have 1,000 other resumes sitting in somebody's inbox that you're competing with. How do you stand out? Well, here's one way to do it. Okay? This is something I took a snip off of LinkedIn, and some very, very creative person created a resume bar. And I guess they're a designer, or had it done for them. And it is actually a chocolate bar, and inside was a cover letter folded up. And instead of where all the ingredients are, it says, you know, like communications, 20%, you know, writing, art design, art direction, and that kind of thing, right? And then, of course, you can see it's blacked out in the lower right-hand corner. It was that way when I took it off LinkedIn. So the person's name and phone number and email and all that is blacked out. But you have to be able to break through the clutter. That's a big, big saying in marketing. How do you stand out? How do you make, you know, value for your boss who's paying you, right, signing your paycheck, or value for yourself when you're out there, you know, looking for a job, right? So the courses that I teach here incorporate all of this, right? So I teach advertising here, marketing management, strategic marketing. What else do I teach? I taught principles of marketing. And then in the just beginning this semester, I've taken over the leadership of the American Marketing Association on campus. So for the first time ever, it is a 3-credit course, and I will in a second turn this over to Julia Rotella, who is the president of AMA. And it is, thanks to her and the efforts of very diligent students on the board, it's now a 3-credit class. So, and it will be continued in the spring. So I've been asked to mention that we will, we have a case study competition in the fall. In the spring, there are other things to do. And it will be a hybrid class, a 3-credit class that goes toward your business or marketing elective. Is that right? Okay. So if you are looking to join a really, really great group of people and want some exposure, and you want to do some design work, you want to do some survey work, you want to do some writing, there's going to be a video competition. So there is, you know, you can use your talents, right, in the spring in this course, which will also be obviously a 3-credit class. And one other thing I wanted to say, Blaise Pascal was a famous French mathematician hundreds of years ago, and he has a very, I think, cute saying, which says, I would have written you a shorter letter, but I didn't have the time. Because it's a lot harder to write concisely, right, than it is to just dump everything onto a screen and send it off and then have people fight through your words. So write and then edit, edit, edit. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Okay? Get to the point as quickly as you can in a